So before we start today's video, I first like to state this for the record. Danny Ainge has already been on record saying no way, no how Gordon Hayward is going to be traded away from the Boston Celtics. All right. So he already pretty much talked about and solidified that Gordon Hayward is not going anywhere. All right. But nevertheless, let's just talk about this trade proposal. Okay. So the trade proposal is basically Gordon Hayward going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And in return, the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to give up Andre Drummond to the Boston Celtics. They're also talking about players and draft picks that they're going to be swapping. Most notably, the Milwaukee's first round. The Milwaukee Bucks got a high draft pick. That's also going to be involved in this trade proposal. Also, Saxon, I believe that's his name. He's also going to be in this trade proposal. And the bottom line to this trade proposal, I don't understand how this works for the Boston Celtics. Now, the Boston Celtics is lacking a big man. All right. And I know people are going to be in the comment section. Well, what about so-and-so? What about this person? What about that person? Okay. Andre Drummond is a traditional center, all right, who's going to dominate the post. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to be an enforcer. So slashers are not going to, just reign free and just go straight to the basket. They're going to have to encounter Andre Drummond, all right? And I remember a couple of seasons ago, Andre Drummond was a hot commodity, all right? Everybody and their mamas and their grandmamas wanted Andre Drummond a couple of seasons ago. Now, not so much, okay? He was with the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons made a trade and sent Andre Drummond to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Cleveland Cavaliers wasn't going to keep Andre Drummond for long. They was going to flip him for more pieces. And thus, so far, Andre Drummond remains with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's a traditional center, all right? He's not like these new age centers that we got today that can float around the three-point line, that can hit mid-ranges, that you set plays for on the offensive side, more Dirk Nowitzki, less Dwight Howard, okay? So you really don't need an anchor enforcer down low in today's basketball to be very successful, okay? Now, what I think about this trade, I really think the Boston Celtics will lose so much just to get Andre Drummond, okay? Now, Gordon Hayward, before that horrible injury, the year where they signed Gordon Hayward and they also got Kyrie Irving. If he didn't have that freakish injury, a lot of people were talking about how far deep in the playoffs the Boston Celtics could have went with those two, as well as those young studs that they have on their roster. And people were projecting them to go deep in the playoffs, possibly going to the NBA Finals. And all that got derailed because Gordon Hayward had that major injury that he was out the majority of that season. And I think it was the first game of the season, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe it was the first game and he got injured. And, everything went downhill, okay? Gordon Hayward was out and Kyrie Irving was butting heads with the younger players of the Boston Celtics and vice versa. And the rest they say is history, and bad history in my opinion. So much so that Kyrie Irving was waffling on whether or not to stay with the Boston Celtics, and ultimately he signed with the Brooklyn Nets alongside Kevin Durant. We don't know how those two are going to work or coincide together because Kyrie Irving has been in and out of the lineup for the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant hasn't even entered the lineup. He will be entering the lineup this year, okay, because he had an injury too as well. So we really don't know the dynamics, how that's going to work for the Brooklyn Nets. Meanwhile, the Boston Celtics has been flourishing. Okay, as a matter of fact, the Boston Celtics won a playoff series without Kyrie Irving. Okay, when he was out of the lineup, when he was a member of the Boston Celtics. So the Boston Celtics have been thriving without the services of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, not so much. But when you look at the Boston Celtics, point guard is not a huge issue. They're solid on their perimeter players. I think they're a little soft on their the bigs over there. And to me, I feel like they're still going to have to add some more pieces to that roster. Marcus Smart is really not your answer, in my opinion. I feel like you can either let him go or trade him to a team that could probably benefit that team, as well as they send some pieces over to you, how that's going to benefit you. So to me, in essence, when you look at the Boston Celtics, they can just stay status quo. Okay, they don't have to give up anything. I think they can add pieces in the offseason and keep their picks for the NBA draft, and start drafting younger players, molding them like you did with already that you have on your roster. And I think Gordon Hayward is good. Okay, so I think if they just stay status quo, and just add pieces here and there, also maybe sign a free agent, a big free a center or a power forward, well, mostly a center in free agency. Dwight Howard is available. Are you probably get Dwight Howard? JaVale McGee, he's available, even though he's more of a power forward. All right, but he's available. So, and then you had the opportunity to get Boogie Cousins last season. You didn't do it because no one was sure about Boogie Cousins. But nevertheless, there are some veteran bigs out there that you can easily draft, that you can easily sign in the offseason, instead of trading away Gordon Hayward for Andre Drummond. To me personally, I just don't see the evolution of Andre Drummond. He is what he is, okay? On the defensive end, he's going to contribute very handsomely, okay, for your defense, okay? But on the offensive side, you can't put him in a lot of schemes, and he's not really considered a threat on the offensive end. Not to say he's terrible on the offensive end, but you can use him in different packages and different dynamics as far as having him float around the mid-range or the 3-point line, like a lot of these bigs are accustomed to do nowadays, okay? Andre Drummond will be dominating in the 70s, the 80s, okay? Most of the 90s, okay? But in today's basketball, you don't need that anchor down low, that big man that's down low, that's going to dominate, and that's going to get you to win ball clubs, okay? Like I said, today's NBA is a lot different than 10 years ago or 20 years ago, okay? And the same faith when the NBA revolved into what it is now. A lot of big men are not, can't find jobs, okay? And Dwight Howard realized that and then Dwight Howard tried to change his game somewhat, add a perimeter shot to his game, a 3-point shot to his game, particularly when he was with the Wizards. That crashed and burned. So, you have to change with the times, or the times are just going to just move along, and you're just going to be left standing there. So, Andre Drummond is a good player. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he's terrible, but what I am saying is he doesn't fit what today's NBA rosters are building. All right, and that's why when the Cleveland Cavaliers traded for Andre Drummond, they they realized that they wasn't going to keep him so long. They was going to trade him to another team, like a contender, and they can flip pieces to them, like flip draft picks, and then they can continue building the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, and let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers for a second. I feel like they should just start all over again, in my opinion. Okay, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're not any closer to being an average team. Next year, they're going to lose again, all right, because they just don't have enough players on the floor. And, they've been perched with their draft picks when they was trying to be contenders when they had LeBron James there. And that's the good and the bad about LeBron James. LeBron James is going to be always, your team's going to always be the contender. You're going to have a possibility of winning a title, which the Cleveland Cavaliers did. All right. And when he leaves, he's going to leave your franchise, your organization, and it's been picked through. Okay. You just mortgage your future to get the players to get that championship. And that's the price you pay when you want to get a championship. Okay. It's going to be several seasons before the Cleveland Cavaliers, in my opinion, can be just an average team. I mean, they're far below average. They're going to lose a lot of games, a ton of games this year as well. So, yes, I said in the beginning of the video, Danny Ainge has already said that, look, Andre Drummond, Gordon Hayward is not going anywhere, all right? Unless, in my opinion, if you're talking about flipping Gordon Hayward for Giannis, flipping Gordon Hayward, a trendsetter type player, or if you or somehow, some way try to sell Danny Ainge the farm just to get Gordon Hayward. You give him like Utah, for example. If you're ready to give up on what you already have on your roster just to get Gordon Hayward, which, by the way, Gordon Hayward was on the Utah Jazz roster, okay? But it has to be something where Danny Ainge just simply can't say no to. And I just don't see it in the landscape of the NBA. To me personally, I think Danny Ainge is under the realization that, look, Gordon Hayward is a great contributor for our ball club, and I just don't see that trade where we can say we have to say that we have to say yes to, that we have to stamp to. Okay, but he's already been on the record saying that he's not going anywhere. I said it in the beginning of the video, and if you're asking my opinion, I don't think he's going anywhere either. Okay, nevertheless, and he fits well with what they have on their roster anyway. And that's not the problems that's ailing the Boston Celtics. I feel like they need some more players, some more role players, build that bench a little bit stronger, and maybe get a big man in free agency. I think those are the key things that's going to make the Boston Celtics very successful. Okay, that's all I got for today. Guys, hit me up on the comment section. I really do appreciate everyone that comments. I really do appreciate everyone that hits the notification bell, the subscription button. And there's going to be some new things that's going to be going on with this channel. I was going to try to do it yesterday, but got busy. My bad. I apologize. Plus, I uploaded a lot of content for this channel. So I will talk to you guys later. Deuces.